So what does it take to turn a remote, muddy grotto into one of the most visited places on the entire planet? Well, today, we're diving into the incredible story of Lourdes, and it all started with the vision of a poor, uneducated teenager.
And that's a really fantastic question, right? It sits at this amazing intersection of faith, history, and just raw human experience. So to really understand how this happened, we've got to go all the way back to the very beginning.
Okay, so our story starts in 1858 in this small, pretty poor town called Lourdes, which is tucked away in the French Pyrenees. Now, this was a time of huge change in France. You had industry booming, poverty, and big questions about faith. And our story, well, it involves two worlds that on the surface could not be more different.
On one side, you've got Bernadette Subarus. She's only 14, her family is living in just absolute poverty, and she can't even read or write. Then on the other side, just 4 years before all this, you have Pope Pius IX in Rome, making this huge theological declaration, the dogma of the Immaculate Conception. Now, these two things seem totally unrelated, but trust me, you're going to want to remember them.
You know, this whole thing started with a completely normal, everyday task. Bernadette, her sister, and a friend were just out trying to find some firewood to stay warm. But it was right here, in this cold, damp cave, that an absolutely extraordinary chain of events was about to kick off.
So what in the world did Bernadette actually see that day, and in all the days that followed?
Get this wasn't just a one-time thing. Like a fleeting vision, over about 5 months, Bernadette reported a staggering 18 separate encounters with what she just called the Lady. This beautiful figure dressed in white with a blue sash.
Now, you might think the lady would reveal some complex secrets or prophecies, right? But nope. Her message to Bernadette was always incredibly simple and direct. It was a call for prayer, especially the rosary, and a request to do penance, acts of repentance for sinners. That's it.
So, wow, this series of visions was already a pretty big deal. Two specific events happened that were absolutely pivotal. They provided real, tangible signs that made everyone, not just the public, but more importantly the church, sit up and pay attention.
First up, the lady told Bernadette to drink from a spring. The only problem? There was no spring, not one in sight. But on instruction, Bernadette starts digging in the mud with her bare hands, and this tiny trickle of water appears. Well, that trickle grew, and it grew into a spring, and pretty soon, incredible stories of healings from its waters started spreading like wildfire.
But the real turning point, the moment that honestly shifted everything, came on March 25th. Bernadette kept asking the lady for her name over and over again, and on this day, the lady finally answered.
So here's the crucial point. There is just no way a girl like Bernadette, with zero religious education, could have possibly known this very specific, very recent theological term. When she ran back and repeated this strange phrase to her parish priest, for the clergy, that was the key. For them, it was confirmation that this was something far beyond her own imagination.
But, as you can probably guess, her story wasn't just accepted overnight. In fact, it was met with a ton of doubt, and it led to a period of unbelievable scrutiny for this poor girl.
I mean, can you imagine? Bernadette was laughed at, treated with suspicion. She was even detained by the local police and put through these grueling interrogations by both government and church officials. But through it all, her story never changed. She just stayed calm, humble, and completely consistent.
So after a super thorough 4-year investigation, the local bishop finally gave his official approval in 1862. He declared the apparitions worthy of belief. And that was the crucial turning point. It set the stage for Lourdes to become known all over the world.
That official thumbs up totally transformed the grotto at Massabielle. It went from being this local curiosity to one of the most important Marian shrines in the world, a place of pilgrimage, and for many, a place of hope.
And the scale today is just immense. We're talking more than 6 million people. Pilgrims, tourists, the sick, the curious, who make the journey to this little town in the mountains every single year. It's mind-boggling.
Now, it's really important to understand how the church sees healing at Lourdes. Because, yeah, the place is famous for physical cures, and these are investigated with extreme medical rigor, by the way. But the main focus has always been on spiritual healing. Things like the grace of conversion, finding your faith again, or just finding peace, even in suffering.
So, from the Catholic perspective, the story of Lourdes isn't just some historical event that happened and is over. No, it's seen as this living, ongoing invitation to that same simple message Bernadette first heard.
It really speaks to this deep human need for hope and healing that goes way beyond just the physical.
And really, that leaves us with one last thought. Whether you come at this from a place of faith or just historical curiosity, the story of Lourdes, a story that was born from a simple vision in a forgotten grotto, it continues to resonate all over the world. It really makes you wonder, what is it that gives certain stories such powerful, lasting endurance?